Welcome to the Red One Superhero Talk Show. I'm Brad West, your host, with Greg Burrow from Dragons Are Comic Book and Fantasy, and Anastasia Anderson. This week we are talking about dragons.
Yeah.
The dragons. Yesterday we filled you in on a little bit about space dragons and talked about Fin Fang Foom.
Fin Fang
Today we are talking about a more traditional dragon. Now this is the one of the most, one of the classic dragons from Marvel comic book lore, and this is the one that actually throws a wrench into the whole theory dragons were inspired by aliens.
Because this one's actually a dragon.
Because this one is actually a dragon. Shou Lao, the Undying, the central dragon being in the Iron Fist comic books.
That is correct.
Marvel Premiere number 16, 1974 by Roy Thomas, Larry Hama, and Len Wein. Those are three amazing classic Marvel creators. So this particular dragon has a good deal of pedigree.
Just to give you an idea, if you don't know who Roy Thomas is, he's the guy who basically created the whole Krull Scree War.
Yeah,
he's big time he's big time Avengers writer. He wrote most of the Avengers for a long time. He also brought Conan the Barbarian to Marvel Comics and wrote him, I want to say from like the very beginning in 1970 all the way through the entire run of the first Conan run. He did a lot of stuff. He was the second editor-in-chief at Marvel, so once Stan Lee stepped away, he took over. So we have a lot of history there. Larry Hama, if you don't know who Larry Hama is, he's basically the person responsible for G.I. Joe. Basically, he did the backstories on all of the G.I. Joes when they brought the property over to Marvel Comics and asked them to do the comics. Basically, like, all of the characters were their job, right? And then that was all their backstory. And so Larry Hama created everything about Snake Eyes because he was just known as Commando. Right. That was all he was. So if you look at the first action figure of Snake Eyes, he has the goggles and stuff like that, and that's why after Larry Hama got done with making him a ninja and all this kind of stuff, his whole helmet changed, his whole look kind of changed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They brought in Storm Shadow because, of course, Snake Eyes became one of the more popular characters because of Larry Hama. There's just so much that Larry Hama did. As a matter of fact, I want to say one of the team from that were building the Hasbro that were building the G.I. Joes came over and talked to Larry Hama, and they saw all these little file cards on his desk that were all of the backstories, and basically they were like, hey, can we take those and put those on the back of the cards on the action figures? And he was like, yeah, sure, go for it. So he was responsible for all of that. So the whole current incarnation of G.I. Joe is thankful to Larry Hama.
Which means Shou Lao definitely and Iron Fist were in good hands in some early stories. And Shou Lao the Undying. Otto, you were explaining to me why did they call it Shou Lao the Undying?
Okay, so he is the Undying because he is part of the ritual that's in Iron Fist. They actually show this in the Iron Fist TV show. Part of it's like, so back then he laid siege to the land as big monsters do, and he was defeated by the very first Iron Fist, I think.
Yes.
It's like, but he doesn't die, so he came back, and so they
keep him trapped under a mountain.
Yes, and they make it a tradition that if you want to become Iron Fist, you have to defeat this guy again, and every time it happens, he just comes back. He's the Undying. He doesn't die.
So, the Iron Fist, as you saw on the show and in the comics, if you've seen it in the movies and everything, Iron Fist, is he right-handed? I can't remember. He literally gets his power by defeating the dragon and plunging his fist into the burning heart of the dragon. And kills it and takes his heart out in his arm, and then that's when he gets all the magic chi in his Iron Fist. And so, apparently, Shou Lao regenerates reincarnates, grows again, and, you know, eventually by the time he's grown up and big enough for, you know, to have the power, the next Iron Fist comes and murders him, and that's his punishment, is to get murdered over and over again.
Over and over.
Apparently, we've discovered that 66 times canonically in the comic book.
Yes,
So-
it, by the time we get to Danny Rand, it is 66 times.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, that kind of feel bad for the guy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shou Lao, I liked it in the TV series. Now, unfortunately, the Iron Fist TV series did not have the budget to really show the dragon.
No.
It's like we spent all the money on the cool hand effects. We
Much-
didn't have
much
enough left for a
cheaper.
dragon.
Let's not talk about the TV series, please.
Oh, we got
It's
it.
so bad.
However, we did get some semblance of the dragon in the Defenders movie, and especially getting to see the scale of it when they found another dragon's body. So we were
Yes.
talking about dragons. We got to throw them in there. And
We
everything like
allude
that.
to a lot of dragons.
And we didn't
And Shou Lao did not have anything to do with Shang-Chi.
with Shang-Chi at all.
No,
No.
it's like-
We're a completely other dragon.
It's like, yeah, the reason we started this, it's like, this was kind of residual side content, because we went through Shang-Chi, and the big question of Shang-Chi is, this dragon has popped up.
Who
Who
is
in the
it?
world is that?
So we're
And there was a lot of speculation that it was Fin Fang Foom.
but,
Yes,
yeah,
and then
put
we
that-
were like, maybe it's this one, and no, it wasn't. Still
put-
wasn't.
We put that to rest yesterday.
Yeah.
However, Shou Lao does appear in the Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man TV series written by Paul Dini. And it had some good points to it. It was not my favorite Paul Dini project to date. But the reason that we did not like the Iron Fist TV series is because they kind of missed the point of the character. And it was really interesting.
Well, they made him
that
stupid. I mean,
they took the whole point of Iron Fist in the comic book was that he had to learn to control himself and his anger. Only somebody who is truly balanced was able to defeat Shou Lao. And the Netflix Iron Fist was obviously not balanced. However, ironically, the Paul Dini version of Iron Fist, who was a recurring character on the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon, which is supposed to be a teenage version of Iron Fist, embodied the character much better. Now, it helped a lot that Greg Cripes did the voice of Iron Fist, which I found amazing. Greg Cripes, as you probably don't know, is he was the voice of Beast Boy, and at one point he was the voice of Michelangelo. He's a very chill dude.
Oh,
And so
okay.
he played a much more straight kind of character on the Spider-Man cartoon, but he was very zen, and he talked very calmly, and his whole thing was like namaste. He was like, and he really did, and this is where I talk about sometimes, it's like, you know, they miss the point of characters because they're trying to avoid being cheesy or comic booky or whatever, and they lean into the zen.
Right, he was supposed to be that
He's
cheesy
supposed
of a
to be
character.
that cheesy of a character, and it worked. It worked in the cartoon, and I really enjoyed Iron Fist on the Spider-Man cartoon. And the really cool thing is that Shou Lao in that cartoon was voiced by none other than Mark Hamill. So
Yay.
Shou Lao had a pretty interesting evolution and some stuff, and I liked it. And so,
I'm going to say this about the TV series. I don't blame the actors for how bad it was. I
oh
blame
no
the
no
writing.
no.
I blame the writing because he was going around saying, "I'm from Kunlun, the secret village."
I
And it's
know
like,
it.
it's a secret for a reason. Why are you telling everybody? You're supposed to be protecting the secret.
I know.
And you're telling everybody. And they put him in a mental institution, and he's still saying, "I'm from Kunlun, the secret." I'm like, you're in a mental institution. You need to try to act as normal as possible in a mental institution, or they're going to lock you up forever.
I know, and I think that was the biggest. This is like because they were trying to go with, oh, he's been away from society, and so
Right,
he's
he can't
naive,
adjust.
and
No.
he's still thinking like a child. I'm like hell he was.
Yeah.
No, he's not in American pop culture society, so yeah, maybe he would still be stuck in the past with his music. That made sense. But no, he was raised by adult people who were teaching him martial arts and preparing for him to fight a dragon, okay? He's not going to still be mentally a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
what they were trying to make on the show, and that was
Well,
where they
not only
lost
that-
the whole thing.
Not only that, but I think you've already touched on it, that he would go from being zen and like, meditating and doing all these, cool things to losing his temper at the drop of a hat for no reason whatsoever. And it's like, what are you doing? Now, the thing is that they had some amazing side characters in that show. And it just killed me.
The outbursts were the writer's attempt at forced drama, is what it was. They were like, I guarantee you this.
Right, they're like, we're gonna take a Zane character.
This is the excuse,
and we're gonna make him angry.
This is the excuse they had in the writer's room. Is that it's like, well, if he's always zen and calm and always trying to be rational and everything, well then nobody will relate to him and he won't be any fun because they can only be an exciting character.
We watch these shows for relatability.
Alright, seriously, is the Punisher really relatable to anybody in the long run?
Oh God, I hope not.
Except for apparently some police groups and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, I think they missed the point completely.
And honestly, it's more insulting now that I know he was kind of that Namaste Man type character.
That's
because that would have made that would have made the crossovers where he like interacts with Luke Cage way funnier.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why there was such an amazing couple of characters in the comic books, like Luke Cage and Iron Fist, and I was really hoping that maybe, that would
be the funniest funny
otherwise
thing
known
I've
as
ever
Power
heard.
Man and Iron Fist.
But I was really hoping on the Netflix shows that they would lean into, maybe he's going to learn to calm down. He's just, it's the trauma or whatever, or PTSD that's causing this, and he learns how to accept it and balance out. But he didn't grow. And not even, barely by the end of the Defender storyline, he grew enough to take over for Daredevil for a while, but then even that was just like, that was the closest he came to realizing that he was being thick-headed.
Yeah, because my impression is he came off kind of cocky when I saw him.
He was cocky. And the thing is that Iron Fist, in the comic book, the whole point of him is, and then this is, again, it's his bad writers. If you can't think past that, you're a bad writer. It's the whole Superman argument. And it's like, you know what? It's not Superman. It's it's the situations you put him in. It's the adversaries. It's the challenges. And the thing with Iron Fist in the comic book that made him compelling is he's from this world where he's learning to be peaceful. Yeah, he's in a monastery. He's in one of literally the 7 cities of heaven, okay? So there's the conflict, his greatest conflict was defeating Shou Lao the Undying. But then he comes to the modern world, and he has to deal with drug dealers, and he has to deal with racial and social injustice.
Right? It becomes very stressful.
And so it's the situations that he's in that are testing him and pushing him. And the whole thing in the comic book is he's constantly trying to and it's supposed to be one of those ticking time bomb kind of things that eventually is like, okay, now I've got to pull out the Iron Fist. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what's interesting about the character, And so I think that would be a good, compelling thing to watch. I'm hoping that society one day we will evolve to where we can watch a show where we're actually compelled by a character whose whole shtick is trying to stay calm in the face of adversity.
Right.
That would be good to see. I want to see that.
And also on top of that, I really wanted to see an entire series of Power Man and Iron Fist.
That's where I was hoping it was going.
Yeah. Not Defenders, Power Man and Iron Fist.
The third series should have been Heroes for Hire. It should have been, because even in the scene where in Iron Fist when he encounters Luke Cage. And Luke Cage has to call him out on his privilege and tells him, it's like, you had power before you had superpowers.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the seed that they're planting to Danny to start thinking beyond the super, and it didn't work. I mean, it's like, yes, you had this respect for each other that became begrudgingly after fighting with each other, but it never evolved into, like, the concept that it could have been,
Right.
Missed opportunities.
It was
It's like, and for bummer things aside, it's like, there's actually a slightly cooler thing that Shou Lao was in. It's like, it's like, and I hope it comes up anyway, it's like Agents of Atlas.
Agents of Atlas. Oh, yes,
Agents of Atlas. Yeah.
Mr. Lao.
It's like, yeah, it's like he becomes like a consigliere for some organization, and he's just there. Like, he's one of those characters that, like, he's big, he's formidable, he's scary, and now he's just a dude behind a curtain like, hey, guys. But still in his dragon form.
But at least they're not making him cook.
Yeah, he's not cooking, but he's just
What's wrong
chilling.
with cooking?
Right.
It's like, but it.
I mean, there's the Minotaur that Diana has her.
Oh yes,
Ferdinand, right?
yes. Let's make the mythical creatures all chefs.
Right? No, they make him like they make him formidable, and then he shows up in Agents of Atlas apparently a little bit more often. So for those people who wanted Jimmy Woo to have shows, there's opportunities for shows.
There are indeed opportunities for shows.
Hopefully.
So anyway, that was our second part of Dragons, and we talked about Shou Lao the Undying. Thank you for joining us here on the Red Web. Make sure you're catching us every week at 3 o'clock live, and we are going to be. You can find us on bradsredweb.com, where you can like, subscribe, follow, and check us out on YouTube under Kaiju Labs Media, and let us know what you think. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and we're going to be getting a little X-Mini, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
Hey, so thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.